Once so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say just that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave o'er the land under the frame, and the home of the brave.
Don't be afraid, this is a low fat, and you are listening to HonestAnswerRadio.com. Now, where is the egg roll you guys promised me?
The views and opinions expressed on the Honest Answer Radio show are the opinions of Honest Answer Media and no one else. If you're hearing a syndicated broadcast of this show, don't hold it against the broadcaster. Rather, congratulate them on their openness, tolerance, and respect for the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. Thank you very much.
One more. 5 to 1, baby. 1 and 5. No one here gets out alive now. You get yours, baby. I'll get mine. Gonna make it, baby, if we try. We all get old and the young get stronger. May take a week and it may take longer. They got the guns, but we got the numbers. Gonna win, yeah, we're taking over. Come on!
Yeah, welcome one more time to Honest Answer Radio here on HonestAnswerRadio.com, where we're kicking the mainstream media in the teeth every chance we get. If this isn't going to be your first time listening to us, I'm going to be the Marty half of your dynamic hosting duo this evening.
Hi, boys. Oh,
Wrong
wait.
one.
Oh,
Wrong
wait.
one.
Oh, it's Thursday?
It's Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday.
On the Thursday edition of the Honest Answer Radio, I will be the Casey half of this show, not Cassandra.
Not Cassandra, not tonight. Things have gotten a little more interesting there on that regarding that story that we brought you Tuesday about the ranchers there in Nevada. Interesting. It's probably not the best
Interesting
word I
in a
could use.
very bad way.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The guy's son, the rancher's son, was tasered. There's been a woman hit with a dump truck.
A pregnant woman.
She wasn't, like, injured or anything, but there's principalities involved there.
Well, the militarized park rangers who showed up. Why does a park ranger need a taser and body armor?
Yeah, there's a lot about this story that I'm just finding really hard to grasp. And look, I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. The governor of the state of Nevada, Sandoval, he's a little bit irate himself.
Hopping mad?
Yeah, their senator is not taking this too well. It's really hard to understand why all of this is necessary. They're not, when we were talking Tuesday, we were talking about how they had called for a confiscation of 900 of this man's cattle. That they say the cattle are trespassing. Well, they're not exactly confiscating them. They have showed up with backhoes and dump trucks and whatnot, and
they're going to kill the
killing
cattle.
them.
The ones they don't haul away, or they're going to load them into the dump truck, and then they're going to bury them in a big pit with the backhoe.
Yeah. Now, granted, these are cattle, and they're beef cattle, and they were probably going to be, slaughtered at one point or another anyway, but they're not going to be used for meat.
No, they're punishing.
They're punishing.
This is a punishment.
Yeah.
See, this is the federal government coming in and go, well, we're going to show you just what kind of consequences there are for disobeying the all-powerful EPA and the BLM.
Yeah.
This is big me, little you.
You were telling me this morning that somebody had, put on Facebook and had tagged us, in this story, about all of this. And, there's been some folks that are like, y'all need to wake up and see what's going on. Well, like we were talking about earlier this morning, Casey and I are on record going back to like 2007, I think, 2006. We were saying things like this would happen when the Patriot Act was signed.
Well, when it was re-signed,
re-signed,
when it was what they call it, renewed.
Yeah.
Back then, of course, we weren't on the air in 2003 or 2002 when it was enacted the first time. So we weren't on the air. But Marty and I talked to each other privately, and we didn't like it then.
And when we were on the air,
it was one of the earliest things that we said when the Patriot Act came up for renewal. We were telling people then, this is bad, this is wrong. What this will lead to is militarizing the police and making the American citizen the enemy, not foreign terrorists.
Right.
But American,
it makes us the terrorists.
Exactly.
It
with the stroke of a pen.
Yeah. Yeah. And when President Obama brought out the National Detention Authorization Act, which our own Congressman Mike Rogers signed.
Yep.
We said then, these kinds of things will happen. Because it more or less gives the federal government and, local police the ability and the authority to arrest someone and completely do away with their writ of habeas corpus as long as they define them as a terrorist or that they are suspected of terrorism, be they foreign terrorism or domestic terrorism.
And when they can define a domestic terrorist as somebody who talks a lot about the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that means that anybody, they can just designate anybody a terrorist.
Slowly, a little bit at a time, they are taking away the Americans' right
to self-govern.
To disagree with the government.
Yeah, see, which is really, really messed up because we're actually the government. These other people just work for us.
Yeah, that whole of the people, by the people, for the people thing.
And the whole we the people.
Yeah.
establish.
These park rangers. You know, when those people out there in Nevada are saying, you know, why are you doing this? Well, I don't have to tell you anything. Yeah, you sort of do. They're forgetting exactly who it is that they work for.
Mm-hmm. This is more than a case of park rangers just doing their job. I didn't see any of those guys up there going, y'all, we are so sorry. Y'all, we are so sorry. They're making us do this. We are so sorry. No. What I saw there was some very arrogant park rangers pulling the big me, little you.
Yeah.
We're with the government. We tell you what's going to happen. Not
And if you got anything to say about it, you better say it in this little 20-foot by 20-foot cordoned off area that we've designated for you to have your freedom of speech in.
Yeah.
When, by the way,
that's unconstitutional.
When, by the way, did our freedom of speech become limited to a cordoned off area? When did it become okay?
See, that's just it. It's not.
Well, see, it all stems from an executive order that the president signed, that President Obama signed. This is coming from his own executive orders that he signed. Yeah,
one of many unconstitutional.
But where's the challenge?
Orders.
No one's challenged it yet. Hasn't come before the Supreme Court yet. And it goes back to what I've been saying all along. It's not a matter of what they can and cannot do. It is all about what they will or will not do. This is unconstitutional. They have no business telling these people where they can exercise their right to free speech. But they are doing it, and they will continue to do it until the Supreme Court says, yeah, you guys, you can't do that.
Will that stop the Obama administration?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I was going to say,
And it's not going to bring back this man's cattle. It's not going to untaser his son. It's not going to unhit the pregnant lady. All of the damage will already have been done. And the fact that the mainstream press is making this farmer, this rancher, look like the villain, that is infuriating. It should be infuriating to everyone that watches NBC.
Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
They make this guy out to be some crazy, Like he's just one of these right-wing nutcases, Constitution this, freedom that.
In other words, when the government decides to trample your rights, you become a right-wing extremist.
Yep. And there's no redress here. There's nothing that that we the people can do about this, as long as they keep giving law enforcement the authority.
Well, as long as they keep giving all these weird branches of the federal government law enforcement powers.
Yeah. And military equipment. I mean, they're giving these people are showing up in full battle armor, man.
I mean,
they're showing up dressed like they're in Kandahar, and like these ranchers are going to be launching rockets at them or something.
I watched the YouTube video, and there's one dude on there saying, I even left my pocket knife at home. We're not the ones standing out here with AR-15s.
Right. Yeah. This is frightening. It really is. This is some really frightening stuff here when our own federal government is using Gestapo-like tactics.
So you think Eric Holder is going to step in, Marty, and say, wait a minute, this is totally beyond the scope of federal law enforcement. You guys need to stop this. The BLM needs to get a life, get a brain, and stop abusing the authority of the federal government. He's going to do that just any day now, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because, he's such a man of integrity and honor and he always adheres to the Constitution
and upholds the laws without fear
absolutely
or favor.
Absolutely. He is a completely objective and non-biased in everything he does. So, I'm sure he's going to step in just any minute now. I believe he's going to do that right about the time Harry Reid stops talking about the Koch brothers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you mean that ain't gonna happen?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Our prayers are with everyone involved here. Remember we said Tuesday when we brought you this story, pay attention. You will see this material again. So I'm going to say it one more time. Pay attention to this story, because you will see this material again. And, it may not necessarily be this rancher and his family in Nevada.
It may not be cattle getting slaughtered.
No, this could be you. This could be your rights that they're trampling on.
Tell you what.
Whenever one of these
if
agencies decides that they want your land or your property, there you go.
Tell you what. If you're listening to this show and you happen to be out west, go dig a farm pond on your land. Try it.
Oh, you better. Now you're going to get some of these people arrested, man. Just trying to have them just dig a pond all willy-nilly without the EPA coming out there.
Well,
and
if they donate to Obama's to a Democrat's campaign, they'll probably be all right.
You'll be all right then. Yeah, that's what you have to do before
But if you're a member of a Tea Party group or form one, I dare you, go dig a pond on your own property.
Yeah, you're going to get these people in trouble.
Um,
But see, if you want to do something like that, all you got to do is just donate to the president. Donate to OFA or something like that. I mean, God, that's better than, paying for the permit.
Call it green.
Yeah.
It's a green pond.
Yeah. Or say, find you a nice Democratic candidate and donate to his re-election or something, and bingo,
and
man. Permits greased right on through.
Tell him you want to dig a sustainable pond.
Man. Well, we do have other things on our plate tonight.
We got a few things.
We
on
just
the plate
jumped
tonight.
right off in that, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Done got mad already.
Well, it's just
It's gonna
so
get
easy.
better. It's gonna get better though, right?
Yeah, hold your breath on that. Let's see. Today is the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
And President Obama made such a great speech today. I don't have any audio of that, but
No, we don't, because some of our listeners out there probably just ate.
Yeah.
We don't want y'all tossing your dinner, so
or spitting it out if you're eating now. So, but it was such a great speech, talking about what a wonderful, wonderful man Lyndon Johnson was. For coming up with this piece of legislature all by itself, and how he had to fight those mean old Republicans all the way to get this stuff pushed through. We all know how truthful the president is.
Oh, and we all know exactly how truthful Lyndon Baines Johnson was too.
Oh yeah.
That man was so crooked he had to screw his britches on every morning.
And it's funny that the president was
kissing
Lyndon Johnson's behind so much, when it was Lyndon Johnson himself that, when he was, creating the welfare and everything, said that, once I sign this, we'll have the N-bomb vote for the next 100 years. What a nice man he was.
Oh, sweet guy.
Yeah.
He took, as we were talking about it, what he did was he took Barry Goldwater's bill, refused to sign it when it was sponsored by Barry Goldwater.
Right.
The Republican. Well, Lyndon Johnson just sort of rewrote it a little bit. Basically, it was the same thing that Barry Goldwater had tried to push through.
I was going to say, he hardly rewrote it. It's almost like he just copied it.
Yeah. And then said, oh, this is my piece of legislation.
Yeah. And then when Barry Goldwater said, I ain't signing that. That's my bill, and it wasn't good enough for you to sign, so I'm not going to sign it. Then that was like one of the first times that they started going, see, racist, racist. Barry Goldwater's racist. Republicans are racist. See, that's where it got started, right there. Mm-hmm. So I guess, this was a historical, this was a very historical moment, and the president, he just had to reflect on that so that he could point that finger at the Republicans and go, they're still racist today. Bill Clinton, he got up and made his little speech. He had to get his little gouge there in at Republicans. Well, I've got that audio. I'll let you hear that for yourself. I've also, speaking of racist, down here in Alabama, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about one of our state reps, Alvin Holmes. Now, he ain't my state rep, but he is an Alabama state rep. He represents somebody in this state. Some fool voted for him. But he was down in the State House making his racist remarks about white folks and abortion. I got that audio. I do got that audio. I'm going to play that so you can hear that first bit there. Well, he's back in the news because recently he made the statement that white folks ain't interested in adopting black babies. We hate black people. That's he thinks all white people hate all black people, and he was willing to back it up with money. He said he'd give $100,000.
$100,000
if somebody could show him where a lot of white people are adopting black babies. Well, today, a whole bunch of white families showed up in Montgomery to say...
with all the black babies that they've adopted.
With their black children that they adopted and said,
pay up.
We'll take that in cash or check. It don't matter. But how about that $100,000? And if you don't want to give us the cash, well, we'll take your resignation. That'd be worth the $100,000. So I've got a little clip there from Montgomery, a local news outlet there in Montgomery, did a little piece on that, and he ain't backing down from it. He's standing by his statements. You'll have to hear this to believe it with your own ears. And I've got a piece. I got Trey Gowdy talking about Lois Lerner and her pleading the fifth. The House, the committee there that's in the Ways and Means Committee that has been investigating this. They have voted to charge Lois Lerner with contempt, and that is now about to go to the full House, where the full House will vote on it. And if the House votes to hold her in contempt, they're going to give Eric Holder a chance to do the right thing. And either Eric Holder can arrest that heifer, or Congress will arrest that heifer. And it will be done under it's this real obscure thing, obscure tactic that Congress can use. It's called inherent contempt. Mm-hmm. And if they do that, well, she's screwed. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And I mentioned Harry Reid and the Koch brothers a minute ago.
You did. I heard you.
Ron Fournier, who is not a conservative.
But he writes for the National Journal.
Yeah, but he is not a conservative. I have a small clip from him and how he feels about Harry Reid and his tactics of, lying about the Koch brothers. So, let's say we jump on in here and play Big Daddy Bill. Slick Willie.
Oh,
Big
please.
Bad Billy Sweet William
We
now.
hadn't heard anything from Bill Clinton in a while.
Well, he wants to know what the definition of is. This is a real short clip. It's only about 20 some odd seconds. So this is what Bill had to say today on the anniversary of the Civil Rights Act.
I am concerned that on this 50th anniversary, These divisions and the lack of a spirit of coming together put us back in the dustbin of old history. We have too many current challenges to waste a day trying to recreate a yesterday that we're better off done with.
Let me do that just one more time. Hear this part again here.
Put us back in the dustbin of old history. We have too many current challenges to waste a day trying to recreate a yesterday that we're better off done with.
All right. Anybody want to tell me what Republican, if you would, just point to me which Republicans have said that they want to go back to the pre-civil rights era? Anybody? Maybe somebody out there in the chat, if you could just refresh my memory on what Republican has said, man, I sure do wish we could go back to treat black people bad. God, you remember back in the 50s, man? God, can't we do that again?
Good, we could just turn the fire hoses and the dogs on them and
yeah. I don't know who Bill Clinton's talking about. I mean, now, granted, Bill Clinton don't know what Bill Clinton's talking about half the time because, after all, he is the man that doesn't know the definition of the word is. But I'm trying to figure out who's he talking about?
It's that straw man that him and King Barry were sitting over there building.
Oh, yeah.
This is that, that mysterious they, or them.
Them. Yep, them. Oh, them.
It's them. It's
them Republicans.
They that it's the mysterious people that want to eradicate the civil rights movement and go back to the days when we had Jim Crow and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they love to say that.
Yeah.
They love to throw that one.
There's a reason why they call that a straw man argument. Because it is about somebody that doesn't exist.
Oh, that's true.
There are jerks around this country who are racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the trick, though, is they're not all white.
Heck, one of them even got elected president.
There's a good argument that our Attorney General is a racist.
Pretty good argument our president's wife is a racist.
And we know that there's one in the Alabama State House.
Whoa, Lord. Now, I'm glad you said that. Because, see, I don't think Bill Clinton knows what a racist looks like or sounds like. I think he's a little mixed up, and I think the president might be a little mixed up about what racism sounds like.
Well, you know what? Ironically enough, while you were clipping audio today, you came up with an example. We can tell them exactly what a racist sounds like.
I can show you, and I'm going to do that right now. I got 3 minutes of racism right here. Check this out. This is what racism sounds like, Mr. President.
If you ask the people in here now to raise their hand, that those who are against abortion, 99% of all of the white people in here gonna raise their hand that they are against abortion. On the other hand, 99% of the whites that are sitting in here now, if their daughter got pregnant by a black man, they gonna make their daughter have an abortion.
I'm gonna keep playing it, but I want to make this clear right here. What you were hearing was on the floor of Alabama State House of Legislature. This was spoken on the floor of the House. All right? I'll keep playing now.
They ain't gonna let her have the baby. Now I know Listen, you know the truth sometimes hurts. I know it's hard to say that. 99% of those of you sitting here now, if your daughter got pregnant by a black man, you gonna make her have an abortion. You not gonna let her have the baby. Yeah, you ain't have no little black baby. She got 2 other white children, and then she gonna have a little black baby gonna be running around there in the living room or in the den with the rest of them. They're not gonna let that happen. You know that, and I know that. You will never admit it. You know that, and I know that. And all this stuff about the abortion and this and that, oh, that's just a con game. That's for whites, ain't for blacks. And I asked this lady, I said, I thought she said her daughter's going to have an abortion. I said, I thought you was against abortion. She said, yeah, but my daughter got pregnant by this black man. I said, and you're not going to let her have their baby? She said, oh, no. No. She thought I was crazy. If you had a daughter, she got pregnant by a black man, you let her have the baby. I'm asking you.
Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Speak up a little loud, I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Then after the baby's born, what you do with it?
Let it run around in my living room and enjoy it as my grandchild.
With them other little blonde children running around in there.
That's right.
Well, I need to commend you then.
That, my friends and neighbors, is what racism sounds like.
All those people, 99% of all the people of the opposite race of that man would make a racist decision. And somehow that's not racist?
And if you believe that story he was telling, where he was talking to a white woman, and she said her daughter's going to have an abortion. And he said, I thought you was against abortion. Well, I was, but my daughter got pregnant by a black man, so she going to have an abortion. If you believe that story, hey man, I have I would like to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge for a reasonable price, a few $1 million.
And we'll even throw in the George Washington Bridge as a limited time offer.
Yeah. Every sentence that man was uttering was setting my blood to boiling. I am not easily offended. As a matter of fact, I very seldom use the words "I'm offended," but that's offensive as hell. I'm not just offended as a white person, man. I'm offended as a human being.
Well,
but if y'all want to know what racism sounded like, that's it. But there's more.
There's
always
always more. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. He said he'd give $100,000 now if some white folks could just show up and show him where they've adopted some black children. Well, let's see what that looks like. Let's see. Here we go.
Those comments have many families outraged. Adoptive families and friends gathered at the State House Wednesday to protest what Holmes said.
I just can't believe somebody in 2014 would say the things that Representative Holmes has said.
Thomas Casson has 6 adopted children, with 4 of them being biracial or black. He says he and many others would like an apology.
Hopefully we could actually get an apology from Representative Holmes, just saying that he was wrong.
What do you want me to apologize for?
But Holmes says not a chance.
The majority of the white people, in my opinion, in the state of Alabama, do not want their daughters having black babies. They know it's true, and I know it's true. Now, they're not going to say, yes, Alvin Holmes is right.
Not many are saying Holmes is right, at least not publicly. Sam McClure founded the adoption law firm in Montgomery and says he believes Holmes is out of touch.
At any given time, there's maybe around 300 children who are waiting to be adopted, and we all the time interact with families that race is not an issue about a child needing a home. It's a child needs a home, and they're willing to take them in.
But Holmes says that's not the norm.
When they go out and say, well, it doesn't matter with me, and then most of them catch their daughter having a black baby, they have a conniption fit.
See, he ain't backing down. He's proud of his racism now. He's proud of that. He make no bones about it. And what stupefies me, man, is that his district re-elects him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Now, you can't tell me that the people of his district don't know him, that they don't know who he is or what he stands for or even how he feels about white people. But they put him in office time and time again. Representative Alvin Holmes don't like white people. He makes that very clear, that he doesn't trust white people. He doesn't think white people are capable of making the right decisions about things. You could hear there the interview with a guy that he founded an adoption agency. Talks to people all the time. When people are trying to adopt a child, very seldom does race come up. Most people that want to adopt a child, man, they don't care if that child's purple. They want a baby. They want to help a child that's, doesn't stand much of a chance otherwise. It doesn't really matter to them what color it is. But people like Representative Holmes there, they don't see that.
Would he? Is he out there adopting white babies?
I'm not so sure that he would even extinguish a white person if they were on fire, man, to be honest with you.
And that's going on his actions.
Yeah.
In his own words. He has such a low opinion of white people because they're white.
Yeah. I would be willing to bet it's not because of anything that they've done to him, that white people have done to him. I'd be willing to bet that he's had a lot of white people be kind to him over the years, but he refuses to see that because he can't get past his own racism. He is the face of bigotry.
In Alabama.
And, people like Bill Clinton and President Obama want to try to point the finger at Republicans and say that, Republicans are the ones that's racist.
Yeah, by the way, Alvin Holmes, he's a Republican, right?
Huh. Yeah, not so much. No.
You mean he's a Democrat?
Yeah, he's a Democrat.
No, man, it can't be, because Democrats ain't racist, only Republicans are.
Well, I will go out on a limb and say that there are racist Republicans out there. I'm sure there are. It'd be stupid to say that they're not. But, excuse me there, former president and current president. I think y'all might want to do a little bit of cleaning up in your own house before you go pointing the finger at the Republicans. It's kind of like that old Bible verse there. Don't worry about the splinter in your neighbor's eye when you got this big old honking log sticking out of your own. Just saying, it might be something for y'all to think about.
But if y'all was wondering what racism sounded like,
that's it.
We have just showed you.
That's it. He gets the Jerk of the Week award, as a matter of fact.
I swear. The thing is like, you can't. I'm writing a book right now.
Uh-huh.
I would not put that scenario in this work of fiction because part of doing a work of fiction is you have to get your readership, or if you're making a movie, that's
got to be believable.
Movie. Well, you got to have the audience do a willing suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That don't even sound real. That man standing up there saying those things, it sounds like something that somebody made up. But
Well,
that's
part of
real
it was
life.
something that somebody made up.
Well,
'Cause he definitely made up that story about the white lady.
But see, if I made up an Alvin Holmes character and stuck him in my book, people would go, "Oh, come on, man."
Yeah, they would. They would. But that's real, man.
They go, "Well, now, you had me up until you put this cartoon character in there."
Yeah. I mean, you can't make stuff like this up, man. Really. I mean, and the sad part is, man, is he is from the state of Alabama. I mean, he is. It embarrasses me to say that he is one of my fellow Alabamians. I mean, really and truly, I am embarrassed for him. But you know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I'm gonna pray for him. I'm gonna pray for him tonight, because I really hope that God can wipe that racism from his heart. I really hope that somehow or another that the Lord can show him where he is wrong.
Now, I tell you what, let's challenge the people. Let's challenge the white people of Alabama. If you see Alvin Holmes while you're out and about, go hug the man.
Let him know you're praying for him.
Tell him you love him, even though he's a racist.
Yeah.
Tell him you love him, because you know what, Alvin Holmes, I love you.
I love you, Alvin. You messed
And
up, but I love you.
You know, and I want you to be a better man.
Yep.
And so I'm going to pray for you. That God
Whether
will
you
take,
like it or not.
That God will take that racist stain out of your heart.
Well, you know, you was talking about fiction a minute ago. I think that's a pretty good segue to our next little piece of audio that I got.
Oh?
Yeah, because it's about Harry Reid. You know, speaking of fiction and
Tell you what,
people
now,
you can't just make up.
He is a fiction writer, a fiction speaker.
Oh, he is a fiction aficionado.
This bugaboo. Now let's lay the groundwork here.
Okay. Lay it on me.
A little bit about Harry Reid and the Koch brothers, and just the whole Democratic myth of the evil, all-encompassing
billionaires
the spiders that sit in the center of a web that stretches into every facet of American Republican politics.
Billionaires throwing their money at the Republicans.
This stuff about
poisoning the political well.
The Keystone Pipeline. This is one of Harry Reid's big Koch brothers' axes to grind, in addition to
their
money.
It's what this audio is about.
All right. The Washington Post printed this article. It had two authors. One of them was Juliet Alperin. I can't remember the fellow's name. But they printed this article basically talking about how, you know, the Keystone Pipeline, all of the promotion of it is funded by the Koch brothers. Well, the Koch brothers have said through their representative repeatedly, they ain't got no money back in this Keystone Pipeline. Now, let me explain to you why they don't. If the Keystone Pipeline is built, Koch Industries is going to lose money.
Millions.
The reason for that is, you know, and what this article was talking about is the Kochs own a big share of those oil sands up there in the Keystone area. You know what? It's true. They do own.
That's
they
true.
do own some property where they have oil wells up there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's approximately about 3%.
Say that again a little bit louder.
It's about 3% of the land.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, guess, you know, when the Keystone Pipeline is constructed, it's going to go nowhere near their property.
Oh, so they're not going to get none of that.
They're not going to be able to get their oil into that pipeline and sell it. They're going to have to pump their oil out like they've always been and transport it. And the people who get their oil into that pipeline will then be able to outcompete the Koch brothers.
So what you're saying is that this Keystone Pipeline
is going to hurt the Kochs.
Yes, and they have made it clear that they ain't going to fund it because it would be ridiculous.
But Casey, Harry Reid says that they're the main ones pumping all this money into the Keystone Pipeline.
Well, you remember you was talking about fiction.
But the Washington Post said...
And not only that, the Washington Post has repeatedly refused to retract their story. John Hinderacher over at Powerline has been going back and forth with them for weeks now over that story, trying to get them to retract it or admit that they were actually lying, or, if not that, to go ahead and admit that Democrats put them up to writing that story.
Well, we did find a liberal, a progressive, willing to admit that, in Ron Fournier.
And he didn't even sound like he was even wishy-washy about it or sitting on the fence.
No.
Let's just play that real quick.
It's very short, 38 seconds, but very telling. If I can get it rewound in, there we go.
Shame on us if we in the media let him get away with this. First of all, his PAC...
Wait, what'd you say, Ron? Ron, what'd you say? Say that again.
Shame on us if we in the media let him get away with this. First of all, his PAC has its own wealthy billionaires who are donating to him. Second of all, the ad is false, outright false. Representative Cassidy actually fought against the Koch brothers here. That's not pointed out in the ad. The ad is a lie. Third, this is the third time in a row that Harry Reid's PAC has had an ad that's been labeled patently false by the Washington Post. He is making facts up. He is lying. And eventually that's going to come around and get you. Even in this media environment we have now, I got to believe that Stephen's wrong and the Democrats will pay a high price for lying in these Senate ads. They're lying.
Is Ron Fournier saying Harry Reid's telling a lie?
He's saying that his PAC is, his political action committee is.
Is he saying shame on us in the media if we don't tell the truth about it?
He said it in those exact words.
Because, see, this actually wasn't about necessarily, the Kochs and the Keystone, but that was part of this big ad campaign. It's one of the big big talking points in all of these ads.
Now, see, the Washington Post printed the original story.
Yeah.
And they're still labeling all this as a lie.
Well, and this story, like, how in some of these political ads, how they'll do like I don't know what you call it, like a screen cap of something, right, of a news story, that is outlining like the evils of the Koch brothers. Mm-hmm. That's what Fournier is talking about. How these ads that Harry Reid is running, and that a lot of these other Democrat senators are running, that are paid for by one of Harry Reid's PACs. Shame on them in the media for allowing these to run.
No millionaire or billionaire donors to any of those Democrat political action committees.
Oh, no. Look, the Democrats hate millionaires and billionaires, Casey. They won't even associate with them, much less take any of their political money. Of course not, man. That's like saying, if you believe that, then that's like saying that the unions would be like one of the largest Democrat campaign donators.
Actually, they are.
No, Casey, they don't do that. Democrats don't take millions and billions of dollars from donors, especially not from people like unions.
I know that they spend most of their time petting their unicorns and
cultivating
pixie dust.
Right. That's right. But they wouldn't do none of that stuff.
But in their spare time, I'm just suggesting that they might take a little bit of money from a billionaire or a millionaire here and there.
I just
maybe
can't believe that.
From Hollywood or,
I just can't believe that. As much as Harry Reid speaks out about the Koch brothers and everything, that would just be hypocritical, man.
And we all know Harry Reid can't be a hypocrite.
No. Well, dude, we got about 10 more minutes here, and I got one more piece of audio that I want to run. And this is from our buddy Trey Gowdy. And
always good for a quote.
Yeah. He's talking about Lois Lerner. And, she's pretty stuck on this Fifth Amendment thing.
In spite of the fact that she's already given testimony to other more friendly groups.
Yeah. Well, and, oddly enough, when she pled the Fifth the first time there, before the Ways and Means Committee, just based on that right there, that day, all right, she read this statement, right?
That statement is actually testifying.
Yeah. And see, at the end of it, she said, I did nothing wrong, right? And then she pled the Fifth, right?
Well, you can't do that.
You can't do that. And this is Trey Gowdy trying to explain to some of the Democrats on that, some of his fellow Democrats that just don't understand why they keep harping on this poor woman. Like Elijah Cummings, he just can't figure it out. Why are you all just going to keep on going after this woman? It's her constitutional right to plead the Fifth, and she shouldn't have to incriminate herself. So, Trey Gowdy, being the nice fellow that he is,
and has a little bit of experience with law.
Yeah, as a prosecutor, oddly enough, he is going to explain to everybody why she can't do that.
Mr. Chairman, I counted 17 separate factual assertions by Ms. Lerner, not those 3 little sentences that my colleagues like to cite. 17 separate factual assertions. That is a lot of talking for somebody who wants to remain silent. That's a lot of talking. If you honestly believe that you can make 17 separate factual assertions and still invoke your right to remain silent, then please tell me what waiver is. Please tell me what constitutes waiver if saying 17 separate factual things does not. Mr. Chairman, she testified, I have done nothing wrong, I've broken no laws, I've broken no IRS rules or regulations. That's her testimony. What I'm saying is we should have the right to cross-examine her on that testimony. Because I'd like to ask her, when you said we need a plan, who is we and what plan are you referring to? When she said we need to be careful that it's not perceived as political, who is we and what are you concerned about the perception of politics for? Well, what are you fearful of, Ms. Lerner? She said, I think we really need to do a project. Again, Ms. Lerner, who is we and what project are you referring to? That is a legitimate question. And every brother and sister at the bar on the other side of the aisle would ask that question on cross-examination if given the opportunity. Can you imagine, Mr. Chairman, can you imagine a fact pattern where somebody takes the stand and says, I didn't rob the bank, but I'm not going to answer why my fingerprints are on the demand note, and I'm not going to tell you why I'm on the surveillance footage with the gun in my hand, and I'm not going to tell you why the dye pack blew up in my car. I'm just going to tell you I didn't rob the bank. That's not the way our system works. You have to answer the other side's questions. I think these questions are fair. The Tea Party's very dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Who, Miss Lerner? Who thinks they're dangerous? You? The IRS? Dangerous in what way? We need a vehicle to get back to court. Who is we? Why do you want to get back to court? Could it, heaven forbid, be because you don't like Citizens United? Is that possibly the explanation? Mr. Chairman, she said Cincinnati should not have these cases, but then she turned around and said Cincinnati was to blame. That's an inconsistent statement. Every lawyer on that side of the aisle would ask her to explain that inconsistency. Everyone. So why can't we? If this isn't waiver, then can someone explain to me on the other side what fact pattern constitutes waiver? If you can make 17 separate factual assertions and authenticate a document and say, I have done nothing wrong, which is about as broad as any testimony can possibly get. I've done nothing wrong. I've broken no laws. I've broken no rules or regulations. I mean, honestly, what testimony could be broader than that? So necessarily, our cross-examination should be equally broad, and it would be in a courtroom. How often did you use your personal email, Ms. Lerner? That's a fair question. The Committee on Ways and Means just referred that issue to the Department of Justice. How many times did you use your personal email? When you mused about applying for a job with an organization connected with the president, were you kidding, Ms. Lerner? Or were you serious? Oh, we know you were contemplating retirement. Were you really seriously going to work? Mr. Chairman, I know my time is up. I'm just going to say this in conclusion. The same Constitution that allows her the right, if she wants to sit there and say nothing, allows these groups the right to petition their government for redress.
I appreciate the gentleman. Gentleman's time has expired.
Woo! Lord have mercy, Mr. Gowdy.
And now, when they going to get Elijah Cummings up there and go, Elijah? Now, at what point, because it sure does look like he might have actually been coordinating some of this. There's some emails out there that looks like he got Lois Lerner to give him some information.
I think it was like 903, 906 some odd documents.
But she can't give those, and the IRS won't cough those up to the Ways and Means Committee?
Yeah, it's kind of strange, huh? And you know, for the longest, Elijah Cummings has been begging for that committee to just stop the investigation. Let's just halt this. We don't need to go any further. Let's just move on.
There's nothing to see here.
You know, I've heard some of the other Democrats, on that panel that they've said, similar things, but not quite as vehemently as Elijah Cummings. And now I think I figured out why.
Well, we don't know for sure, but I will say allegedly. It smells like something stinks.
It does. It smells a little funny. And here's the thing. Legally, Elijah Cummings cannot compel someone like Lois Lerner to do anything. I mean, he can't, in his capacity as a congressman, go to Lois and say, do this. And I guess, it's not necessarily illegal for him to, investigate some of these people, on his own. Like, some of those Tea Party groups. I don't think it's illegal for him to do that. But I do think that it might be just a tad
improper.
Yeah, and it might be just a little bit of a conflict of interest for him to sit on a committee investigating an incident.
The same agency that he might have applied a little bit of pressure to,
or to investigate an incident that he was a part of, that he himself took part in.
There's a word for what people are supposed to do when there's that kind of conflict of interest. It's called recusal.
Oh.
See, they're supposed to say, you know what? I might have been a little tied up in this. I got a dog in this fight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recuse myself and let y'all do your investigation. And since I might end up being a part of, who you're investigating, I really ain't got no business trying to steer the way the investigation goes because, I might steer it to make me look good and somebody else look bad.
Uh-huh. He hadn't done that, no, has he?
No, the word recusal has not come out of his mouth.
No, it hadn't. There might be, it just appears that there might be a little impropriety on the part
I believe they do call that the appearance of impropriety, which we know is pretty bad in politics.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, bad. But you know what, man? I'd be willing to bet that the people that sent Elijah Cummings to Washington in his district I'd be willing to bet that they think he done nothing wrong and that they will reelect him time and time again.
I think so.
Because, like Hitler said, how fortunate for rulers that men do not think. Because that's the only way somebody like Elijah Cummings could end up in Washington.
Or Nancy Pelosi.
Or Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid or even Barack Obama. Because men don't think. People don't think. Well, dude, it's that time.
We have reached the end of our Thursday Rainbow.
We have. I want to remind everybody that if you'll look below the little player there on honestanswerradio.com, you will see a little yellow donate button. If you like Honest Answer and you want to keep it coming, give to your heart's content. Or you can go over there to our sponsors page. We got a lot of really great sponsors that do a lot of really great things. We got My Freedom Smokes, Bacon Freak, LifeLock,
My Food Storage. Jelly Belly, Cabela's.
Or you could go to vaporssouth.com. That's VAPORSSOUTH.com. If you are a user of e-cigarettes and you would like some of the best e-liquid on the market, some of the best tasting e-liquid on the market, we can hook you up. I happen to know personally that Vapors South has some of the best liquid out there. Man, some of that the green apple and strawberry or tangerine even, man. Got some tastes like Applejack cereal. We've got some that taste like bacon, man.
And white chocolate covered bacon.
Oh yeah, that stuff's good too. Now that's some good stuff. We got the pralines and cream. As a matter of fact, we will be adding cherry, and we will be adding a new flavor, rum and coke.
Sweet.
Yeah, with Jamaican rum and coke.
Jamaican rum and coke.
Heck yeah. Man, if you have a flavor that you would like, feel free to send us a suggestion, man. If we don't have it, I got a good feeling we can make it. I just have that feeling that we could. So that's vaporssouth.com. Or also, man, go over there to our channels page. It's that same little thing that you hovered over to get to Honest Answer Radio's channel. You'll see a couple other channels there. You'll see one that says Sports World Radio.
It's the fastest hour of sports on the internet with Jeff and Sean. They will take you through NBA. They'll take you to the Major League Baseball. They'll do hockey. If it's sports, they've got it covered. If sports isn't your thing, if spirituality, if your walk with Jesus is something that concerns you,
if you got a hole in your soul,
you need to hover your mouse over the channels page and go on down there to Challenge from the Heart with Pastor Rick Hope from First Baptist Church in Lillian, Texas. Pastor Rick can help you. He's got some of the best sermons that you're ever going to hear. Woo! He interacts with the people in his chat, answers questions. You can't ask Rick a question that he won't answer.
That's right.
And the answer that he gives you will come from Scripture.
You know, there ain't many pastors out there that you can say that about, that there's not a question you can ask them that they won't answer. Now, if he don't know the answer, he'll help you find it. And that's unique. That's unique. And, you know, I credit Pastor Rick with my soul going to get to heaven. I credit Pastor Rick with me with my decision to find a church in my area and get my little white butt in there. I love that man, and I think if you will give Challenge from the Heart a listen, you will love that man too. Also, another great friend of the show, GoingBeyondRadio.com. They not only carry Honest Answer Radio, and not only do they carry Honest Answer Radio, man, they They carry Honest Answer Radio on virtually every internet radio format out there, man.
All of them that's worth listening to.
Yeah, I was going to say all the big boys.
Live 365, Shoutcast, iTunes, Roku, Blueberry, Tuned In. All of them.
Man, there's a whole, there's more. There's more. There's at least like a dozen of them things, man.
And they've got more programming than just our politics.
Ain't that, man?
They got shows on spirituality, treasure hunting, technology, finance, you name it. It's there on goingbeyondradio.com.
Tell them Casey and Marty sent you, man. Tell Chuck we said, what's up? All right. Otherwise, though, we won't see y'all again until Tuesday. But in the meantime, there's hope. There's hope.
There is.
I don't want to close out the show without leaving you with just a little bit of hope. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land.
Amen.
We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Be good to each other.
Good night, y'all.